So, welcome everyone to this short discussion on wavelets. I'm Anil Shashikumar. And today we are going to discuss the preliminaries of wavelets and their potential applications in economics and finance. So, this is first among the planned lectures on wavelets. So, let's start. So, before we get into the problem at hand, some background first. All of us know that analysis of macroeconomic as well as financial time series data is very much important to empirical modeling because these models in turn determine either investment decisions or policy decisions. And most of the models that we implement, they carries out data analysis on the given time scale. That is, if we input the data is that of the daily frequency, you get in analysis you get the results based on the daily frequency, and if you are inputting monthly frequency and yearly frequency, it is the same. So, and even the co-integration methods, just like we have in advanced co-integration methods, it gives you an idea of long run co-movement as well as short run disturbance, but we don't actually know at what exact time does this long run dynamics occur. We know that there is a long run relationship and there is a short run distance. We cannot actually pinpoint these time scales. And if we can capture this long run and short run dynamics, say the long run as well as short run impact of a certain policy, we can have, also, I mean, it will be helpful in formulating policy decision. Or on the other hand, if you are an investor, so you can decide upon how to make your investment decisions. That is your long run investment decision, medium run or short run. As the timescale methods were hmm, not sufficient in capturing this information, we have this alternative approach or frequency domain approach. So these approaches in the first step we had Fourier based models. So for Fourier transform, it's a mathematical method that works on the principle that a time series can be represented as a sum of a sine and cosine series. And so you are converting from time domain into the frequency domain. The Fourier transform can capture the high frequency, medium and low frequency information. However, we cannot get any information about the time domain simultaneously. It is like either time or frequency. With the Fourier transform, we can't get both of them together. So, to put it in a different way, if we need localized frequency at a specific point in time, Fourier cannot capture it. Your classical Fourier transform cannot capture it. So, this is a mathematical representation of Fourier transform, very basic mathematical representation. So, what we have done, we are summing up the whole time of signal ft multiplied by a complex exponential, which gives the result of the Fourier coefficients. These coefficients, when you are multiplied by a sinusoid of appropriate frequency, will give the corresponding sinusoidal component of the original signal. So graphically speaking, we have the signal multiplied by the Fourier transform, get the frequency domain information. So Fourier basically breaks down a signal into its constant sinusoids of different frequencies. That is, we can extract information across different frequencies. So this is the signal we have. On the x-axis we have time and y-axis we have amplitude. While transforming, we have on the x-axis we have frequency and on the y-axis we have amplitude. So the time is missing from the second part, like we have seen earlier. So we are changing the view of the signal from time based to frequency based. What is wrong with Fourier? I mean, not wrong. Wrong is not the exact word to use. What is the limitations with Fourier? We completely lose the time information. That is, when did a particular event take? Suppose we see a particular spike in this frequency. We don't know. We see when you see this particular, we are observing this frequency spectrum. Seeing a spike, we don't know when that obtained. And Fourier cannot locate certain things like trends, abrupt changes, beginning and ends of events. This it cannot capture. So in order to account for this, Gabor in 1946 developed what we call short time Fourier analysis or windowed Fourier analysis. STFT is the short form. So what we are trying to analyze is we are moving a window across the signal and calculating the frequency across that particular window. So here we can get time and frequency with some limited precision, but this precision is determined by the size of the window. And once you choose a particular size of the window, it will be the same for all frequency, both the high frequency and low frequency. So the issue with Gabor is that many signals need a more flexible approach so that we can vary the window size for accurate measurement. So most of these real world signals are aperiodic. So that's also an issue. And as an alternative to this, wavelet analysis was proposed. So what is wavelet? That's the main topic of our discussion. Wavelets are nothing but a small wave that is having a limited duration and have an average value of 0. Whereas the sine wave goes on forever in theoretically, while the wavelet it has a limited duration. It's a short wave, small wave. And mathematically speaking, we can say wavelets are a type of function that should be integrated to 0. So it's limited in both time and frequency, unlike the Fourier transform. So what does this mean? This time limiting factor. Using this, we can extract information across different frequencies. At the same time, we don't lose the time domain information. There are many types of wavelets which we will see in detail. So Haar was the first one to propose a wavelet back in early 20th century. So mathematically speaking, this is the wavelet representation of a time series xt, where xt is your process, x is the process signal, psi is the arbitrary mother wavelet transform, a is the scale, and b is the translation. Why we call arbitrary mother wavelet transform? Because there are many wavelet transforms around, like we saw in the previous slide, Haar, Mottler, Debussy, and so on. So the wavelet's properties: short time localized wave with zero integral value, which we have already seen. Possibility of time shifting. Flexibility, they are flexible. We'll just see why. So just now we had mentioned scaling. What is scaling? Scaling means stretching or compressing a signal. So this is one example for a scale factor for sin t. Sin t a equal to 1, see the waveform. Sin 2t where a equal to 1 by 2. Sin 4t where a equal to 1 by 4. So this is one simple example. So how we are stretching or compressing a signal. Wavelets, for wavelets also the scale factor works exactly in the same way. See, this is for a equal to what? Psi t. So any wavelet. So psi 2t, we are reducing a and then we are compressing it. Psi 4t, a 1 by 4, again we are compressing it, or if we are looking the other way around, we are stretching the signal. So based on this scale and translation, how it works, wavelet transforms can be categorized as continuous wavelet transform and discrete wavelet transform. Continuous wavelet transform or CWT, the scale and translation is arbitrary. In DWT, we can see the scale is dyadic, that is 2, 4, 6, 8, 16, and so on. Whereas this translation is stretching or compressing is integer 1, 2, 3. So due to this setting, DWT can be only handle time series that are dyadic in length because here it's dyadic. So in order to overcome this, something called MODWT, that is maximal overlap discrete wavelet transform. As our discussion is on CWT, we won't get into MODWT at this point. So let's see a graphical representation of how the CWT operates. We take a wavelet, any wavelet, and compare it to the start of the original signal. Take a calculated number C that gives some representation how closely correlated the wavelet is this particular section of the signal. Higher C, more similarity. Okay. That's one point. Then you shift the wavelet to the right. Repeat the same step. That is, you calculate and you are covering the entire signal. You do this for the entire signal or our time series. Then again in the next stage, you scale the wavelet. You go to the next scale. You calculate C. You cover the entire series. Then again you scale the series. Start this business and you repeat this for all the scales. Alright, so now we will see how to do this CWT analysis of a given time series in R. So for this we have to use this particular package wavelet comp. So I'll just organize this code. So this is the library that we need. Just let's go through that particular library. Here wavelet comp, it is here. The computational wavelets analysis, it has function. So we can analyze cross wavelet power and coherence power spectrum, which we is going to calculate. Or we can reconstruct a series, generate some surrogate data, and we can plot cross wavelet average and wavelet coherence. Can generate image. It has a set of functions. For our purpose, we are generating this wavelet power spectrum from the continuous wavelet analysis. So first, let us run this library. Yes. Now we have a data that I have already imported. It's Bitcoin returns, daily Bitcoin returns. So here we have Bitcoin date, close price, and returns. I have already calculated the returns. So I'm just converting this date into .as date because sometimes while plotting it creates problem. Then just renaming this, calling this returns and assigning a name returns to it. So we have date and return. We put these two into the data frame. Now we use this analyze.wavelet function of wavelet comp to calculate the wavelet power spectrum. So first input is this data frame. Then my.series is equal to 2. So in this data frame, where is the series that we want to analyze? So this data frame that we have generated, we can see that our series is on the second, it's in the second column. So we are just giving 2. So here let us see what are the options that we have in this particular function. We can see it here. Say this is the my data. That's what I have given, my series. The number of column index, lowest span, that is for degree of time series smoothing. Taken the given this dt equal to 1, time resolution 1 per unit. So this is 1 day. DJ frequency resolution, that is the sampling resolution as well. Default is 1 by 20. Lower period, minimum observable admissible value is 2. 2 into 1. We have given 1, so 2. Upper period, that is floor of the 1/3 of time series length multiplied by dt. That is the upper period. P values we can compare. It is true. What is the method for generating surrogate time series? We can have white noise, shuffle, Fourier, or ARMA. So white noise is the default. So if we want to give it AR and MA, if we want to use it ARMA model, we can give the values as well. Number of simulations is 100. Date format. This is for later. I mean, we are not giving these values. So these are the optional optional inputs that we have to give to this. So we just run this code and see the result. It will take a slight time. So we have our result, and this is the wavelet spectrum of Bitcoin. Let us just see this slightly larger. You can see that this is the time scale, this is the date, and here you can get frequencies also. Just you have to manipulate the command. So here we can see that there are fluctuations around 2014 up to the period of 16 days. This is 16 days. This is, we can say, medium scale, medium run. So we here also we can see that there is fluctuation up to the scale of 250, 60, 512 days. This black lines we are seeing, that is we are testing for significance against a AR1 process. So this is how we test the significant portions where we can see these fluctuations in the series, and we are seeing to what extent these fluctuations are prevailing. As this color intensifies, we see that fluctuations are strong. And what we can see, this is what we call the cone of influence. Whatever happens outside this, we normally ignore. So here we can see some fluctuations. Say these fluctuations all have some unique, what you can say, property. We can see that they are limited to around 32 days. So this intense fluctuations, it never goes beyond 32 days. So we can see that, or we can say that the turbulences that happens in a cryptocurrency market, or in this case Bitcoin, they are limited to short to medium run. That is, it is like high frequency, medium frequency, and low frequency, high frequency, and medium frequency. Nothing in the low frequency. High frequency means short run. This is medium. This is long. So we can see observe, or we can see or observe short to medium run fluctuations in the Bitcoin market. But in this case, if you take say some other data like say stock market, we may see different pictures. This is just an example how to estimate this in R. Same can be done in MATLAB and other softwares also. eViews also provides this basic wavelet analysis functionality, but R has a very good set of libraries or packages that helps us to carry out many wavelet based analysis. So this is the basics. R can be downloaded from CRAN, and RStudio also can be downloaded from their website, and all these things are free because R is a open source software. So we will wind up here. Thank you.